I've got 14 key notes here. I'm smart, but I'm not smart enough to remember all this. When it comes to bulletproofing the hamstrings and the ACL. See, the ACL attaches from the back of the thigh to the front of the shin bone, much like that hamstring does. Now, the first note is that one of the goals of the Zero program is palms to floor with full quad flexibility. Now, we notice an absurd amount of people getting to this who have been stretching their hamstrings for years. I think the reason is that we spend so much time on the ankle itself. So we open up the ankle and the calves, and we open up the glutes with this fully deep split squat. So I think because we're lengthening the ankle and the glute, it then becomes very easy and people break through on the hamstring. I don't like getting into all the direct hamstring work on top of a very stiff hamstring. So it's pretty simple. We want a flexible hamstring, and in this case, we're actually just handling our own range, meaning we also do this for the knee, because if the hamstring is tight, then we can't even fully use these muscles on the front of the knee, right? Same with if it's tight back here, that tibialis. So we actually do this with the intention of bulletproofing our knees, but happens to also start the process on the hamstring. That's note number one. Now, what's pretty dope after there is that this is everything I need for a world-class hamstring bulletproofing system. Let's start with the first thing that gets introduced. This monkey foot saves me thousands on what I used to have to spend on hamstring curl machines, and I'll show you why I like it better, though I'm totally okay if you use a hamstring curl for this step. This is Mondays in Advanced Zero. Notice how user-friendly it is, so you can take this into any gym or at home. Buying a hamstring curl machine for me would cost like 10 times more than everything I'm using right here, right? They're thousands of dollars. But here's why I think this works even better. I'm using a $2 cinder block to elevate, slight bend in this knee, resting here. So I'm mimicking a hamstring curl machine. But now watch this, with the hamstring curl machine, you have a pad, so it stops you short. So for your knees, I think it's awesome that you can get that full range. But this position is very easy. The more we contract it, the tougher it gets. So we want to put in that intention at the top to fight down. So I think the key is getting that full range and then trying to slow it down. That is a really simple, beautiful way to start working the hamstring. And what's really cool, like my mom started this and she would just like start without any weight. So anyone can start this. It's then way more accessible than a hamstring curl machine. Also, 20 pounds is 20 pounds. But on hamstring curl machines, 100 pounds at one gym could feel totally different than 100 pounds at another gym. And like I said, just a reminder, the hamstring curl machine, it cuts off your natural full range of motion. Also, some hamstring curl machines force you to go on two legs. This forces you to go on one and get balance. A difference in balance between sides is also one of those big risk factors for your hamstrings and ACL. So that's on Monday. Now on Tuesday, we're progressing a single-legged back extension, though you can start this with two legs. But notice the difference between two legs and one. So when I'm on one, my back, my glutes are still working, but this hamstring can't do anything. It's all on that left hamstring. So it allows us to go from double-legged, which again is awesome. I think these are so important and so cheap that if you own a TV, if you own a couch, you should own a back extension. If you literally look, I think that saves you money. If you look at the amount of money spent on back pain alone, drug surgeries for the back, yet how many people have actually taken the time to gently, without ever working through pain, so you can flex those quads at the bottom. I'm just using my natural ranges, squeeze the glutes at the top. Okay, very few people I've talked to who have major back injuries have patiently given their back a chance. Not to mention, if we look back at that ATG split squat, we're lengthening those hip flexors. I think that's the biggest missing link, because we're spending so much time sitting. I have videos just on this. We spend so much time sitting, and then we're not stretching out. Look at those back hip flexors. Okay, see that knee's, it's active. I'm getting strong and flexible in those back hip flexors. That creates real muscular length. Muscular length shows to be exponential in terms of resisting injury than just stretching against something or strengthening it through a partial range. So just by progressing on these single-legged back extensions, this is now very gentle. So my mom, just as she started with no weight on the monkey foot, on the hamstring curl, she started no weight on the back extension. So those alone already allow you to work that hamstring in a stretched position, okay? See the hamstring, like that leg straight. Whereas then with the hamstring curl, right, it's toughest as you go to the top. So even though my Nordic tutorial was the most viewed in the history of YouTube. I took it down because I do not believe you need the Nordic. I'm gonna explain why I love the Nordic, why I think you should do the Nordic, why my 67-year-old mother is doing the Nordic. But that's why I took that video down. Most viewed Nordic tutorial in history. I didn't delete the video. I put a link in the description if you want to see it. It goes over the history. The Nordic was first documented in 1880. It's been used by many of the world's greatest athletic outliers, but I'm doing everyone a disservice by making them think that they have to jump into Nordics, and you absolutely don't, nor do you ever have to do a Nordic. And depending on your goals and your age, maybe you just want to use the monkey foot and back extension, okay? Now, if that sounds crazy, yeah, I'm crazy. I have not turned on ad money on this YouTube channel. This gives you maximum time learning. I said from the beginning that I would only use YouTube for education, not to try to be a YouTuber. So the moment I take money for an ad, I'm now a YouTuber, and I'm compromising my integrity for those games. So unfortunately, YouTube has a little fine print that allows them to put ads even if you are not making. So YouTube is making money off you. I'm not making money off any ads you've ever seen on my page. I get questions every day, why did you take down, that video or something like that? That's why, because this is the video that people need to see, okay? I'm constantly learning, and this is the video that you need to see, not the previous one. So the first thing let's get out of the way is why the Nordic? Well, notice this was the toughest position of the monkey foot, okay? This is the easiest position of the Nordic. And then on the monkey foot, what was the easiest position? Was as it lengthened. But what about the Nordic? That's the toughest position of the Nordic, is as it lengthens. It also forces you to handle so much of your body weight. There are things called glute ham machines. Those are awesome. You could also use this. I'm on Thursday's workout right now. I'm on step 7. This is my step 7 once a week. You could use a glute ham instead, but that shifts more weight to the hip, whereas this, my hip never gets to have the support. So the Nordic does force, I find, more long-term adaptation and more knee bulletproofing. But now let's get into why I don't think it's so scary, is because we're gonna look at Tyreek Hill and Marty St. Louis, two of the greatest athletes of all time, who have video of them doing Nordics. And we can see the hips bend, the hips don't stay completely straight, and then the knees bend, of course, that's where the tension is. Both of these guys, you can see the thigh gets at least to 45 degrees, yeah, below 45 degrees. And both of them have some hip bend. But therefore, there's nothing wrong with going like this. Also, if you push back up and you just fight down, that can allow you to get a little bit more range. So which one? No. Both. I believe that truth is inclusion, not exclusion. I believe exclusion can make sense at first, but I believe it's covering up some kind of lies, and the only real truth is inclusion. So, the way I have it set up in the app, well, this Thursday, I'm coming back up. Next Thursday, I'm just fighting down and pushing. So that I can just try to stay straight as I can. Boom, push back up. That's it, alternating, while still doing those hamstring curls once a week, single leg back extension as well. So I've got that balance. I think that works so much better than trying to just pinpoint one thing and then potentially risk overtraining it while missing out on other gains, missing out on balance. Because the Nordic, yes, you could do Nordic on one leg, but again, you'd kind of be like, you wouldn't be getting as much range of motion. So I just think it's better do your Nordics on 2 legs, but then your monkey foot and your back extension, single leg. Then there's the annoyance of the equipment. First off, I do think Nordic benches should be more common, okay? My mom has one in her living room. They're 500 something bucks, I think 700 after shipping. But again, I was a gym owner spending 3,000 plus on hamstring curl machines, right? So depending on what your budget is, okay, boom, saved money on a hamstring curl with the monkey foot for like 70 bucks. Maybe you can get a Nordic bench, okay? Maybe for Christmas, if you really wanna make millions on your sports career, maybe for Christmas, you save up, ask every relative, parent for a Nordic bench. You can start that at any age rather than your next video game system or whatever. But let's save even more money. Derek Williams, aka Mr. Infinity, has a dedication to making products more accessible for people to train this way. He reached his late 30s, started training with me, had lost the ability to dunk, full of chronic pains. Now he's 43, dunking off either leg. The Nordic is arguably the most direct exercise for single leg jumping because you have to pull that ground. So this is a horizontal exercise, not an up and down exercise. So Derek makes a Nordic strap. He's popularized this. He's evolved it so it's comfortable. You go into any gym for cheap, boom, you got a Nordic bench. So I consider Nordic equipment in 3 layers. Nordic bench, okay? If you just want the best of the best, Nordic bench. If you're a gym goer who's short on time, where you travel, right? You go into a hotel gym with a bench, boom, Nordic strap, unbelievable. And then, well, what do most home gym owners have? Squat rack. So if you have a squat rack and you load the bar on the other side more than you weigh, I like the ProSource pad. My equipment list is in the description. And thick towel. Now you got a Nordic bench. So I like to live as regularly as I can. So this is exactly what I've been doing as a home gym owner. I've been living exactly like a home gym owner. So now you can see that between the equipment, it's actually not as complicated as we thought. And by understanding that this is a regression of the exact same forces, it's not that scary to get into. And when you understand the foundation that we're building this upon in zero with literally no equipment of any kind, and how easy and cheap it is to then get into hamstring curls with the fullest range of motion that there's ever been on those hamstring curls, and working that back extension so you can gently start working this elongating process before you even get into Nordics. So is it annoying to master the Nordic? Yeah, it's still annoying, it's tough, but whoever said that life was not supposed to have challenges, okay? And you want to talk about challenges, when you do the right investment, I think of training as this session is an investment in the rest of my life. This session's not about now. This style of training took me from my 20s life ruined by knee pain, knee surgeries, unable to play my sport, having never grabbed the rim. That was my dream.
Literally, I don't know if he could touch the rim with his fingertips with no basketball or anything else.
Now I'm 30. I have some of the most bulletproof basketball knees in the world. I've competed thousands of times without ever a setback. I can dunk with ease, and I'm training this session right now so that when I'm 40, I will feel even younger than I do right now at 30, and I'll be even more athletic. That's exactly what I'm training for. I think it's pretty dope that anyone anywhere can follow my exact unorthodox, yet, as you can see from these videos, it's my job to explain why and make it logic-based program. More importantly, thank you to all the people out there doing it who are now helping others. I keep track of my knee success stories, but I know from recording all these, you guys are now beating me. You guys are making more knee success stories out there than I am myself. I'm receiving more knee success stories from you helping others than the ones I'm creating myself. So that's why we do the form coaching. That's why I believe in a coaching process. I believe there's something magical about two working together. And my unbelievable staff at ATG is going to show you. I'm only going to post people who couldn't do this, just like I was nowhere near doing a good quality below 45-degree Nordic. So my dedicated staff, of mostly made up of people like me who had knee surgeries, who thought they would never play sports again and stuff like this, they're going to finish out with some Nordics for you and show you that it can be done.